Welcome back to the Social Made Simple show. My name is Ryan Chiasson, and today we are joined by Social Made Simple's HR generalist, Smily Sharma. Smily, thanks for hopping on the show today with us.
Of course. Thank you for asking.
Why I was so excited to have you on is because I feel like company culture has probably shifted so much for all the companies that are working from home right now and trying to keep employees engaged, trying to keep us connected, trying to get us out of like our day-to-day routines. And I think, you know, since you've been on board with us, you've done a great job of that and brought a lot of great new ideas to the table. But before we dive into all of those, let's just go over, you know, quick background of you and then just how you ended up at Social Made Simple.
Sure. So I actually have a little bit of a roller coaster of a background, if you will. I studied psych at UMass Amherst and did a master's in education. And I originally actually worked in the mental health field. And I really wanted to, you know, stay in there. But then after working in it for quite some time, I did come to the realization that this is not something that may work out for me specifically in the long term. And throughout the years, I've done, you know, different HR related tasks in pretty much every single job that I've had. So, you know, moving forward, I really wanted to be like, you know, I don't want to just do certain HR tasks as a part of the job. I really wanted to make it a full-time career, which is why when I came across Social Made Simple, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to really, you know, learn and build an HR department from ground up.
Yeah, because I mean, so I've been with the company a year, let's see, just under 2 years now, which is still crazy. You know, and a lot of those like HR responsibilities were kind of put towards like the executive team. And, you know, we definitely still have a well-established company culture for Social Made Simple. But I mean, I think a lot of, you know, what we've talked about, even just from the culture committee and party planning committee and kind of just keeping everyone more engaged, getting a lot more involvement from the company as a whole, just for like even like after hours events and even during work, which I think is crucial because that really just, I don't know, for me, it's just like, it breaks up just like the monotony of just like, these are my tasks, this is my day to day. Which leads me to my next question, which is, I have no idea what your day to day is. So let's start there.
Yeah, so currently, actually, the biggest thing I would say I'm working on is updating our performance management system. I know we had briefly, you know, talked about it a little bit yesterday in the all hands meeting, but I want to say that definitely takes up the bulk of my day, trying to, you know, create something that's going to be useful and helpful to everybody, again, from ground up. So in addition to that, I do spend some time finding, you know, creative ways just to keep our employees all engaged throughout this crazy remote life that we're in right now, and really valuing those feedback that you guys all provide in surveys. And then, you know, pretty soon we're going to be adding hiring to the mix as well. You know, just with COVID, everything obviously has to be done online. And I think for me, I am very much of a people person and I like to have that office interaction. You really, I think, get to really know somebody, meet them, you know, really show them around. I think that really helps in building their image of the company, as well as this is a place that I do want to come to work. And I think, you know, just being remote all the time has kind of stripped that away entirely. So it's definitely new. It's definitely different. But I think that, you know, what I've liked to do specifically when it comes to hiring is that really talk to the hiring managers first and foremost to understand what the role responsibilities are going to be like, what kind of experience they're looking for, background, what potential employees, you know, they would want to welcome to the company. Then setting up that job description afterwards. And then, you know, when those applications do come in, I guess my goal really is, you know, to see if this person not only has the basic requirements, but also to really catch a glimpse of their personality, over the phone or online. And then afterwards, you know, send that back to the hiring managers, and they are the ones who really ask the more in-depth questions about their experience and what workload they bring. And I think it's very important for us to, you know, not just know what value they bring to our organization, but also what
Yep.
value we can bring to them. There's a million different companies out there. Why are they going to choose SocialMadeSimple? And I think
Yep.
that really has to be highlighted as well. So, the person that does feel welcome, that, okay, this is a place where I know I'm going to want to grow. And, like I said, it is hard to do it right now with COVID, but definitely striving for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's one of the biggest things that I looked at, especially like when I was looking at applying for SocialMadeSimple, because I wanted to, and I think the biggest thing with the millennial generation going into the workspace is that,
Mm-hmm.
well, one, I think our expectations are a little high of like
I'm
moving up in the company.
sure.
And like, that's just my personal take. Anyone can roast me for that if they want to in the comments. But the biggest thing is company culture. And I think just
Mm-hmm.
wanting to be in a place where you feel like you can be yourself, you feel heard, you feel like
Yeah,
your executive team cares about you and they have candor when it comes to, any type of feedback and reviews. And just like you said, like the performance system, like
mm-hmm.
just being able to track everything and be able to really shine a light on, like, there's always going to be areas of
Of
improvement for
course.
every employee,
Yeah,
but at the same time looking at it from a more positive light and looking at it as like, it's just always something that we can be reminded of, and just a more
yeah,
organized way to track everything. But it's
yeah.
funny because I think before you came on, like at the office, like we would have like what we called like our content room, or what you basically call like the fulfillment team room.
Mm-hmm.
um, you know when I first gotten there, it was just like, all right, like I'm here, like I definitely like enjoyed seeing everything on the website, and I feel like everything kind of matches the bill. Everyone can kind of be a little bit quiet, but then as soon as like we get joined up into like a group setting or like something that's like we're not working, it's like
Yeah,
everyone's personality comes out, and that's
yeah.
kind of how I knew that I'm like, all right, I'm at the right company. And
There
especially
you
with like,
go.
even like when the executives loosen up a little bit, it's nice to
Mhm.
see. Doesn't always happen. They can roast me for that too if they see this. But it's always good to see.
When it comes to HR, I do believe that we've come a really long way since the traditional personnel only. When it comes to HR, it's not just about paying people or, being just there to help with admin related type of things. And I
Hmm.
think HR is definitely critical when it comes to even business function to help companies succeed in, hiring the right employees, keeping them engaged, retaining those employees, and really
Yeah.
supporting their growth and development. And I think HR plays a key role in doing all of the things but also developing, reinforcing, changing company culture for the better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
even the biggest things to me that really stand out, especially from when I first started, was just how transparent
Mm-hmm.
everyone at the company is. Like even like everyone from like the C team all the way down to like being a content specialist, like everyone is very open and willing to share,
Yeah.
and just like everyone's willing to listen to
Mm-hmm.
everyone, so everyone's opinion matters, which I feel like
Of
is what
course.
really has set us up for success with the rest of the company. Now would be a good time, if you could speak on just a little bit of the things that you've kind of implemented for our company. Even just like the
Yeah.
things that like we've told you that like we wanted to see, and we were like a little too shy to ask for directly.
Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest one for me comes to mind is recognition. I think, let's be real, 2020 was a bad year, right? Like
Yeah.
just the chaos of COVID, people losing their jobs, companies not doing well. And it's scary. It's like very scary for any employee, regardless of your title. You don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow. Um,
Yeah.
so it was tough. So I think that, with everything going on, we really do have to remember to recognize our employees and continue to work with them. Um,
Mhm.
and, they continue to work and they continue to provide results. And, you can have all the technology and perks in the world, but at the end of the day, if your employees don't know that they're appreciated or you don't make it known, it
Yep.
doesn't send a good message. And I think that's primarily one of the biggest reasons why people try to look elsewhere. That fancy laptop's only going to get you so far.
Yeah, no, I think you make a extremely good point there. I mean, I think anyone during 2020 had those exact thoughts of just like,
Yeah,
even though, I feel like I'm providing for my company, I'm consistently providing results,
of course.
and even when you don't hear anything, I feel like that can also just be kind of, it can almost psych you out, that like, if you don't hear
Yeah.
anything good, don't hear anything bad, that almost puts you in an even worse
I
position.
feel like you almost assume it's negative, right? You're
Yep.
just like, oh my God, am I losing my job tomorrow? So it's tough, yeah. And I think, kind of to answer the second half of your question there in terms of, improving the company culture, I think the biggest thing that, is an ongoing type of process though, is really implementing that performance management. I think having those clear goals and recognitions for everyone to know that, this is what I have to do to
Yep.
succeed. And I think everyone wants that. You want to grow at a company. You don't want it to be just a stepping stone for a job and then you're moving
Yep.
on. And I know for a fact that we don't want that either. So definitely, the performance management of it and then the recognition. Like I said yesterday, we are going to try out that new reward recognition program, see how it
Yep.
goes. So I won't say too much just because it's just started.
Yeah.
But I think, putting those things in place will definitely help us for, not just 2021, but long term.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you and I have only probably had a handful of conversations, maybe one, since like when
Is
you
that?
started, really just to get an introduction, and then sometimes through
Yeah,
like the party planning committee and stuff like that.
right.
What was like your initial approach when you started with our company? Like, did you have a plan of action? Did you kind of just come in and like learn everything on the fly and then just say like, I think this makes sense? What was like your thought process there?
So I would say it was a little bit of both. And I definitely worked with Brad a lot in terms of getting up to date with, the benefits and payroll and how all of that is done. But I think Brad was definitely a crucial part in being very open to the different ideas that I had.
Mhm.
Very, very encouraging of those as well, which I think really went a long way. So I think the biggest thing that I think myself to do is really step out of that comfort zone and scheduling those 10-15 minute chats with you guys to really get to know you, ask my basic survey questions as well.
Yep.
And I think it just helped me put a face to everyone, and it helped all of you to put a face to me, to be like, okay, this is somebody that we can go to with any concerns or issues that we may have down the road.
Yep.
So I think that was definitely the best thing I think that I did starting remotely. I think really what I really appreciated when coming in to a new position, especially when everything is entirely remote, I'm not going to lie, I was very nervous about it. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work
Mhm.
in terms of, am I like going to do the right things? Am I going to get the feedback, or what's going to happen really?
Yep.
So I think that another great thing that I learned, I think just interacting with Brad and Corey and even David, I just think they all have been very open, which I really like. I can
Yep.
honestly go onto Google Calendar and then put something on Corey's calendar, and I know he's going to be like, all right, I'll be there, and
Yeah,
we can
exactly.
talk about whatever it is that I need. And I think that is definitely one of the things that that might get a little underestimated when it comes to an executive. But I think that definitely, helps everyone stay connected as well. And I think people should definitely take advantage of that.
Hmm.
And especially now that we've introduced those C-suite office hours as well, to
Yeah.
really, use that opportunity on an ongoing basis to ask questions and really stay connected. um, I think it's important to, that would definitely, I think, be the simplest way to stay,
Hmm.
keep morale high, is staying connected. And then, like I said before, we did what? SMS, Family Feud,
Yep.
trivia nights, all of that stuff. I
Those are good
definitely want to
times.
keep, yes, I definitely want to keep that going for 2021 at least once a month. So at least, everyone gets to see each other. Everyone is communicating, not with just their direct reports or within their department, but everyone across the company is really getting a chance to, forget about the work for a minute and let's just have some fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny just because like when I first started, and I love I'm always just gonna go back to it because it's just so funny to think about like when I first started, and I would see David come into the office with like his sunglasses on. I'm like that's the CEO. I'm like he's like the cool guy CEO with his sunglasses on until he gets into the office. He's definitely gonna see this and laugh. But I mean, even like when you're talking about the C team being so open, like it was probably like one of the first weeks that I was working in, like David and I like had a candid conversation just about like Tesla and just random tech things. And like,
Right.
that's often what I find him and I talking about. And and it's just nice just to just to build those connections beyond like,
Exactly.
yes, I'm just like, I work in biz dev and you run the company. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, but like aside from, you know, even in our sales meetings, like we start out like the first few minutes and we're just like candidly like joking with each other and kind of like,
Exactly.
you know, getting things started like in the morning. So yeah, it is really nice. And I think it's one of the biggest things that, you know, uh, that I recognize like when I first started, and it's always drawn me in to be even more open with them.
Yeah.
So enough about 2020 because it's in the past. And even though, you know, there was a lot of bad that came out, there's still some good that came out of it
Yeah.
too. But for 2021, you know, what are you most excited about? You know, it was just with either if it's new goals, new initiatives.
Yeah. So I think definitely, I have a lot of goals, multiple goals for myself. So I won't bore you all with those. But I think definitely overall, I really want to focus on evolving our company culture so our employees, continue to stay engaged, and are happy overall, working at SMS. And I really want to, play an integral part when it comes to that. And which is why, you guys get bombarded with surveys because it is very important
Yep.
for, like I said, not just for this year, but ongoing past 2021 as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. And I think, you know, as I don't know what the right word is, cliche as the surveys might seem sometime, like it's important because,
Yeah.
you know, even if we do one at the beginning of the year and like we only have it be like annual, it's like
Mhm.
how are you going to know when things change like throughout the company,
Exactly.
especially when we're not in the office and you can't really pick up on like
Mhm.
having those group meetings and being in group settings and just having candid conversations, you know, from
Right.
day to day, you know. But if you could give like a statement or even just a piece of advice to other companies right now working remote, you know, to their HR, to their company, you know, what do you feel
Yeah.
like would be like the most important thing to say to them?
I honestly think I'm going to have to go with welcoming the healthy feedback. I think,
Hmm.
these are people that do the job day in and day out. And we should really take their, what they have to say into consideration. Because I do believe that if someone is invested within a company and, maybe they are a little shy to tell you face to face, have that conversation, but, they're telling you in a survey of things that could potentially improve. I really do think it's important to kind of really take that into consideration and
Hmm.
help the company grow in a positive direction overall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm super excited just to see how our company culture will evolve in 2021, especially if we ever get back into the office and we can see each other.
Yeah,
But
hopefully one day.
don't want to jump the gun. But thank you again for
Of
joining us
course.
today, Smiley. Of course, all of you folks can check out the rest of our episodes on our YouTube, on the clips on our LinkedIn channel. And of course, you can head over to our website, www.socialmadesimple.com. But until then, we will see you folks next time.